Hey everyone, it's Angela with FoodStorageAndSurvival.com and welcome to my kitchen. Today we've got some projects going for the Colonial Food Preservation display that I'm putting on at the Colonial Heritage Festival this summer. So today's projects are a couple of pickling projects. I'm working on pickling eggs and pickling onions. Now, I'm just going to be straight up with you here that I'm not a huge fan of pickled things, and so I know some people love it, great. You love that vinegar, and I'm just not a huge fan of that, so these really are experiments for me. They should turn out good. I'm going off some tested and tried and true recipes, so let's just see how it goes. Alright, first one we're going to work on is the pickled eggs. So I boiled eggs and I peeled them, and they mostly came out nice looking, and I buried the ugly ones in the bottom, right, so that nobody will see those. Well, I guess there's a couple uglies on top too. It's hard to get really pretty boiled eggs, so these are just what we got. And to pickle it, I've got 3 cups of vinegar, and I used an apple cider vinegar. You could use a distilled vinegar or a malt vinegar or whatever, but I just wanted an apple cider vinegar here. And I'll be adding to that vinegar blade mace, which is an old style, I mean, not really old style, it's still available, but usually when we buy mace today it's been ground. And so this is the original form that it comes in, and so I special ordered this so that I could make this 1700s version of pickled eggs. So some blade mace and peppercorns, some thyme, I'll be adding that. And then to color it, you know how you do pickled eggs now and they're kind of pink and pretty, and that was, right now we use beet juice to do that, but in the 1700s they used Cochineal, which, let's see if this will focus up really close, is little bugs. Well, it's like the shells of little bugs. Anyway, I ordered this stuff, and I gotta tell you, I was so excited to get it here because I thought, oh, I didn't order the powdered stuff on purpose. I ordered it in the bug form, the original form, and I was going to show my kids how cool these little bugs are, and I still did show them, but they don't really look much like bugs. They just kind of look like shells. So I did have a couple of their little friends and my one daughter who were brave enough to put this stuff in their mouth and crunch up one of these little bugs. They said it tasted horrible. So I've powdered it here. This is the powdered version. I crushed it, and I'm putting it in this fabric. I'm going to wrap it up and tie it into a little sachet, whatever, like this. Tie it, and then we'll steep it in that hot vinegar. Okay, so for the eggs, that's what's all going in. Now for the onions, I got little baby onions and peeled them, which was a bit laborious. There's probably better ways to do it than I did it, but I just peeled them. And we'll be adding a little bit of pickling salt, some cloves, excuse me, and peppercorn again, some slices of, excuse me again, goodness, some slices of fresh ginger, and a little bit of ground nutmeg. And that's what we'll be adding to the pickling vinegar mixture for the pickled onions. Okay, I'm going to add those into the pots of hot vinegar, and we'll let them sit for a bit and then pour them in. Alright, we've got our warm vinegar mixtures here. This one's for the onions. We're just going to pour it over those onions. And then we'll let them soak. Now I did 3 cups of vinegar to start with on each of these. I have about a dozen eggs. I think I have like 14 in here in this crock, and then the onions I have in a jar, in a quart jar. So, and I did 3 cups of vinegar with that as well. And I didn't have it all the way full with onions, so just how many onions I had. All right, the other one, we're going to pull out our little sachet of cochineal and pour the rest of it in on those eggs. We want the eggs covered. We're going to shimmy them around a little bit and stir them around. I might need to add just a little more vinegar to that to make sure that I've got enough vinegar in there to cover all those eggs. Stir them around and make sure that that red gets on all of the sides of these eggs so that there's no white spots when they're done. Okay, now these are going to pickle. They need to sit in the fridge, or, you know, this was a colonial era recipe, and so they would have just had them on the shelf. But I'm going to set them in the fridge and keep them for at least 10 days to get the good pickling flavor in, and then they're good to eat. We'll check in on these again when we head over to that Colonial Festival this summer. All right, I'm going to put these away, and I did add some more vinegar just to get that red to cover up those eggs, and they are sinking into the vinegar really nicely. My onions want to float, and I want to push them down in to the vinegar so they'll pickle better, and so I looked around for something to push them with, and I'm using an onion. Okay. Just going to set that on top. Oop, might have to drain off a little bit of that vinegar. Then we'll put a lid on that, and the baby onions are stuck down into the vinegar so they can pickle. Like I said, I'm not a pickling professional. Maybe they don't have to be sunk into the vinegar, but it just seems like they'll pickle better if they are. All right, now we really will check back in on these at the Colonial Festival. All right, thanks for joining me. Angela with FoodStorageAndSurvival.com.